Chelsea Football Club are super interested in Huijsen. They've had successful meetings. However, we've been briefed that this might be the replacement for Levi Colwill. Yes, I'm going to explain why. Furthermore, everybody is talking about Luis Campos. Yet, it looks like the Chuckle brothers are going nowhere, and this is the Chelsea vision, not the Chuckle vision. Furthermore, we've got an update on Liam Delap's decision. He thinks he's Eden Hazard all of a sudden. I'm going to tell you why. Yildiz being linked with Chelsea. Chelsea conducting a review on the goalkeeping position at the end of the year, and all of a sudden Aston Villa looks set to miss out on top 5. Why? I'm going to explain. We're going to break all these stories down, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts, but before we get started, we're 97 people away from 40,000. So what do you have to do? You have to support the channel. Hit the subscribe button is the easiest way, and if you already subscribed, what do? Hit that like button is the best way to support it. 1,000 likes tells YouTube, hey, this video is really good, show it to more people. So do me that favor, hit that like button and let's get started with the news. I think we need to talk about the Hoijsen. Look, Hoijsen is a wonder kid, right? Whether you like it or not, people hate that term because everybody's a wonder kid these days. Everybody's a wonder kid. However, at this moment in time, this guy started at Roma, went on loan, right? On loan, came back to Juve. Juve evidently made a mistake. Gone to Bournemouth, he's done really well. And now all of Europe's top clubs are interested in him. Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Real Madrid. However, the only way you get him is paid a release clause. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. First of all, Chelsea have got good relationships with the player's agent because Kepa Arrizabalaga went to Bournemouth, so apparently he shares an agent with him. Number one, that's coming from Matt Law. Furthermore, Chelsea apparently have got an attractive project. We hear this all the time. To this day now, I don't know what they tell these players because every player says, we have an attractive project. However, and this is the big however, we don't need Champions League football to secure his services. So this is a positive, but we must get Champions League football, right? At this moment in time, I don't want to hear that we're not going to get Champions League football. Positivity, we're going to do it. The players are going to step up. We're going to secure it. We're going to do it the hard way, and we will still do it. According to Matt Law and Miguel Delaney from The Independent, they're trying to get this done before the Club World Cup. They're trying to get this done before the Club World Cup, and that's between the 1st and the 10th, that little transfer window, because you know the transfer window has been extended this year. It starts on the 1st, closes on the 10th of June, then it closes again. All of a sudden, after the Club World Cup, it reopens, and then it goes again. So there's 2 transfer windows in the summer. I reckon Chelsea are going to be very busy. That's just the fact of the matter. And then a lot of the sales are going to happen in the second one. But this is where the story gets very interesting because we already knew Chelsea are an attractive prospect for Hoijsen. However, Enzo Maresca views Wesley Fofana as the primary defender and he wants him to be partnered with someone that can pass better. This is a problem for him because you can't count Wesley Fofana to be there. This guy is not going to be there. I think we need to someone slap him, and say, wake up. Because the reality is, if we're going into another season of trusting Wesley Fofana to be fit, we failed already. We have failed already. He's not going to be fit. We have got basic amount of games out of him this year and we've said thank you very much and got super happy. Yet he came back, he's injured again, he's going to miss a lot of a bulk, he's had surgery on his hamstring, and then what? He's going to play 1 game a year and 1 game a week, and all of a sudden what? We're going to select between Champions League and the Premier League. That's just a messy situation and I don't like it. But this is where it gets interesting. If he's the partner for Hoijsen, what's happening to Colwill? Is Colwill going to get sold? Is it a pure profit thing? For me, it's very simple. This is great news. And a lot of people aren't going to like it, but this is the competition Colwill needed. Colwill needs competition. Competition makes you better. When you have competition, you need to step up or leave. And this is what I want at Chelsea. I want 2 players fighting for a position, both of them demanding the other to get better. If you don't get better, you won't play. For me, next year, this is the plan if I was in charge. If we are getting Hoijsen and we're not going for that experienced centre-half, you go with Hoijsen, Colwill, Fofana, Joshua Chempong, and 1 more. And that 1 more being Sarr from Strasbourg. He's coming in. So all of a sudden, you've got Levi Colwill that's played around about 100 games. Hoijsen would have played around 50 games. You pray and hope that Fofana stays fit. If not, Sarr and Joshua Chempong. Josh will be the cover for Reece James. And then you decide what you do with Malo Gusto. And this is where we're going to go down that direction. If I was in charge, though, I would sign an experienced centre-half. Because as good as Hoijsen is, it's still a gamble. It's still calculated. And I don't like it. But It is what it is. The players that you would need to offload though, Badiashile, Disasi, Chalaba, and Huijsen. Get bids for them, get rid of them. They're not good enough. They're not of the level. Disasi could be of the level. Not Disasi, sorry. Badiashile could be of the level. Problem is he don't play. He just doesn't play enough. And he doesn't get to get these mistakes out of his system. And that's the problem. If he doesn't play, he won't get the mistakes out of his system and he will never know how good he can become. But there's demand for him from Serie A all the time. Badiashile is somebody that will move on to another club and will most probably look at him and say, he could have done a job for Chelsea, you know, I don't know why we sold it. I can already see it. Football Mercato now is telling us that Chelsea have got in contact with the Turkish player Yildiz. So Yildiz is a 19-year-old. He is an interesting player. He's played a lot of Serie A games for his age. Very creative. Good at ball carrying, good ball striking, interesting player. Whether he is the solution for Chelsea on the left wing position, I don't know, because he's not a touchline winger from what I know of him. I know he's basically an inside forward. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm an expert. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know the full repertoire of this player, because I don't. I'll be lying. I've seen him cook my country. I'm Georgian, and when we played against them in the Euros, he had a very good game. I've seen him on a few occasions for Juventus. But all in all, it looks like we're going after another player that is a winger. In my opinion, if it's Yildiz or Gittins, I'm going Yildiz. But personally, you will know who I would go for. Rafael Leão. Listen, roll the dice, take the chance, try to get him to work off the ball, because on the ball, he's absolutely fantastic. Hopefully in a new league, he wakes up and realizes that he's super talented, and if he applies himself, he'll get super talented results. But it's frustrating because even in bad seasons, Leão gets you 10 goals, 10 assists. So it's just one of those things where could you put up with him? And that's where it gets interesting. However, reports in Italy have said Chelsea have been in contact with the agents of Yildiz, and we will see what happens with that, actually. So everybody wants, right, Luis Campos. For those of you that don't know, that's the sporting director of PSG. He is known to be amazing at his job, right? He's led teams from basic positions to leagues. He's built squads. I think he was at Monaco, at Lille, at PSG, the Eden Hazard team, the Mbappe team, the Bernardo Silva team. He is somebody that's super talented. Like, there is no exaggerating when I say he's a super sporting director. This man is somebody that you give him a team, you give him a budget, he'll make it work. And he'll do it for a very good bargain. And more importantly, he'll do it in a way that leads to winning, but at the same time, it's done in style. Like, there's a certain pizzazz around this team. And this is where it gets interesting, because he's free agent in the summer. And all you hear is Chelsea fans, get Luis Campos, get Luis Campos. Well, Athletic have said it's not happening. It's not happening. Why is it not happening? Because Chelsea have the utmost faith in Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart. They've got the utmost faith in them. They believe that they're doing a good job and that we're going in the right direction with them. For me, you know my stance. Blue Co give the money, so I'm not complaining. As long as Blue Co give the money, I will not complain. My issue is how we're spending it. The money is there. Two directors are not doing a good job. People have an issue. They only buy young players. Well, Due is young, Barcola is young, Huijsen is young, Isaiah Emery came through the youth academy, Vitinha is young, the other guy that plays next to him is young. I think João Neves is young, Mendes is young, Pancho's young. You know what I mean? They've got young players too. PSG have got young players too. And everybody's hyping around it. Clearly, their sporting directors getting players that are good enough. And this is what frustrates me, because it's a different narrative. People don't like Blue Co. Why? Because they say we're not competing. Well, we're not going to compete if we buy the wrong player. And people say go buy experience. So they went and bought experience. Tosin Adebayo, Keenan Jules-Buhul, Joao Felix, Pedro Neto. And people are still unhappy because why? The quality is lacking. And this is hard for me to say because I'm a huge fan of Joao Felix. And I actually think Neto is a better player than we're seeing at the moment. You need a striker, and all of a sudden it can unlock him to becoming even better. But it is what it is. And this is a situation now that is exemplified by this next story. In the summer, we will be going after a new keeper, or we will be selecting from one of the four that we have. And we've spoken about this. So, according to Matt Law, there will be another review conducted regarding the goalkeeper. And they will decide, do we go and buy a new one? Or do we actually now pick from the four that we have, and this is what we're going with? And this is where it gets very interesting, because Robert Sanchez, in my opinion, is not the solution. you're wasting your time. Jurgensen needs to go and play. And we need to find out what he's like when he plays 38 games, because at Villarreal he was competent. And hopefully if he goes to Strasbourg, he'll be competent. Penders needs to go and play. He's young, but I actually think low-key, another year at Genk would not hurt him. And finally, Petrovic, we need to make a decision on. His stock's going to be super high. You either integrate him into the Chelsea first team, or you sell him and get the money and go after a proper goalkeeper. So we will find out what they want to do. And I think at the Club World Cup will be the audition for a lot of players. And that's just the reality of it. One thing that really made me laugh, and I thought I'd talk about it. Look, we all know that we're going after Delap. We know that Manchester United are going after Delap. And we also know that there are a lot of clubs that are very excited at the prospect of getting this player for 30 million. However, what I found hilarious is, because so many big clubs are desperate to get him at such a bargain, this guy thinks he's him. He genuinely thinks he's Eden Hazard. Apparently, according to Ben Jacobs and other sources, this player Liam Delap is going to wait. He's going to wait until the Champions League places are secured, and then he'll make his decision. Who do you think you are, Eden Hazard? Honestly, he is entitled to do this, by the way. I am absolutely being a clown right now, and I'll be the first to admit it. I genuinely think he's making the right decision. Know the facts, know the stats, know the decisions and the consequences of your decisions before you make your choice. Because the reality is, it's your career, it's a short one, and the next decision you make has to be huge. So if he's waiting for Champions League football, so be it. However, I find it hilarious, right, that a club of the magnitude of Manchester United, Chelsea, and Tottenham, and other clubs that are interested in Liam Delap, who plays for Ipswich, scored 12 goals in the Premier League in his life, has the audacity to tell them to wait. Do you know how mad that is? It tells you how in the mud football is. Because if that doesn't tell you how in the mud football is, then I don't know what does. We used to look at top tier strikers at these big clubs. We used to look at Harry Kane at Tottenham. We used to look at Didier Drogba at Chelsea, Diego Costa at Chelsea, even Fernando Torres, big name, you know them ones. You had Manchester United with Chicharito Hernandez, Rooney, Ruud van Nistelrooy, like even Cavani. And all of a sudden now we're talking about Liam Delap. Liam Delap, oh, come on man, football is in the mud. This makes me very, very sad. The final thing I want to talk about today is the top 5 race. Look, yesterday Aston Villa and Manchester City had their game. Aston Villa and Manchester City, 94th minute winner from Manchester City. Pep celebrated it like his life depended on it, and I actually respect it. Because at the end of the day, geezer, you need Champions League football, because why not, right? You're Manchester City. You have set a precedent. You were champions last year, and it gets to the point where you demand it. They are in a position where Chelsea were under Jose Mourinho. You were so successful on a consistent basis that anything other than Champions League football and winning the title is deemed a failure. Genuinely. So good on them. However, this has implications on our team, so we need to talk about it. What are the implications? The result was the best one, right? Maybe the second best. Because maybe a draw, people would argue, oh, a draw is good, we could still catch Manchester City. Looking at the game City have, we're not catching. We need to focus on Aston Villa and Forest dropping points. Maybe Newcastle, but even then, I think Newcastle have got quite straightforward finish to the season. So it's going to be difficult to focus on them. What we need to focus on is Villa and Forest. If we keep winning our games and beat Forest, we will make the top 5. It's back in our hands. The first thing we need to do now is go beat Everton. None of this matters. None of these combinations matter if we don't capitalize and go beat Everton. If we beat Everton, we jump Nottingham Forest and we will be finishing the weekend in the top 4. However, this is where it gets interesting, because Forest will then have a game on Thursday. That means there'll be a whole week of build-up. You know them ones where the pressure's coming on, they're going to be worried, oh, we need to capitalize, oh, this and that, oh, this and that. The pressure will get to these players, and we'll see what they're made of. They've got quite a few big, tough, uncomfortable banana skin games. Us, on the other hand, we genuinely have tough games. We've got Forest, which is in our hands. We've got Newcastle, which is in our hands. Then we've got Liverpool, who could be hungover. We've got Manchester United, who could not care at that point. And we also have Everton. We need to do our job. And that's the sad reality of it. If we do our job, we will be fine. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And I've got a video especially for you guys here on an update on Mudrik's future. Yes, we finally have an update on Mudrik. Go check it out. It's actually a very interesting one, and it'll give you a great chuckle, I promise you.